Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome back to the Misunderstood Show. Today we have Heather Hartman with Hartman Tactics. She is a local badass. I've been trying to find another word in the English language that means that, because I'm trying not to cuss and I can't find one. I ChatGPT'd it and the words it came up with, I was like, definitely no. I'm not a Jane Austen book. But yeah, she is a trainer of gun safety, situational awareness, social awareness, kind of the same thing, right? It's kind of like defensive driving, but defensive just being, aware of what's going on, not paranoia, right?
We can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she teaches LTC or concealed carry, which are the same thing.
Yeah, I teach the Texas License to Carry courses.
Okay. So if you had an LTC, is the same thing as a concealed carry.
Yes.
I think it's a misunderstanding among general population.
Yep. In Texas, there's either you've got your license to carry or you're operating under the constitutional carry, also known as permitless carry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to we all have a license to kill.
I wouldn't say that.
It's more fun that way, though.
It is until you're in a self-defense situation and then you have an attorney who finds that I said that's what you said, and then there's lots of questions swirling around about
that I'm going around trying to kill people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we don't shoot to kill. We shoot to
injure.
No, we never shoot to injure.
What do we shoot to?
We have to talk about this, don't we?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so we don't shoot to kill. We shoot to stop the threat, neutralize the threat. That's what we do. Okay, we do not shoot to injure. Absolutely not.
So don't aim at the knee?
No, absolutely not. If you are in a situation that you can articulate that you felt like there was no other resource. You
can't get away.
Immediate fear of death or serious bodily harm, and the only option you had was to defend yourself with a firearm. We don't shoot to injure. We shoot to stop the threat. Because let's think about this. If you shot to injure, first of all, are you that good under stress to shoot somebody in a knee?
I'm not that good not under stress.
There you go. But if you shoot to injure, are you really scared? Are you really in immediate fear of
Right. No, we're just trying to stop them from hurting you or your kids or whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Hurting people in general.
Right. So when we use a firearm, it is strictly because we are in immediate fear of great bodily harm or death, and there's no other option other than to take that route.
Yeah, that's what it says in the Bible, that you're not supposed to act on violence unless you have no other option.
Yep.
Right? That's your only option is to defend yourself or your family, and then you can defend yourself. But you can't purposely kill them.
Right.
And you have to, not have another way out, like be able to run or get away, escape.
No means of escape. Right. Weren't able to de-escalate it. There was no less.
So if they're robbing you and they are like robbing your car in the driveway, you can't shoot them.
Right.
If
there was no lesser force that could have been used to stop the threat, we have to take because if you're ever involved in a self-defense situation, part of the criteria they're going to go through when you go to court is they're going to put you under a reasonable person test. And there's going to be criteria that you have to meet. And if not,
yeah. I just carry pepper spray most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of pepper spray. I make my kids carry pepper spray. And it's not just that. They're out running the roads and riding bikes and riding scooters, and there's dogs and God knows what else out there. It's not just, obviously they can't carry a gun. They can carry a pocket knife, but I'd prefer them just to carry pepper spray.
Yeah.
We did have a bad pepper spray incident on the bus. My son was being bullied constantly. He was in first grade and the kid was in fifth grade, and he just continued. And there's bus footage of him trying to punch my kid, like leaned over the back of the seat. And finally my son he got scared, and we call him Young Sheldon. He is getting real bad anxiety from it. Mm-hmm. And he just sprayed the kid in the face with his pepper spray that he would carry home because he walked home.
And what happened?
He got a month of detention. He had to go to the bad school. What is it called? CDC or whatever for a month.
They probably call it something different in Texas because I'm originally from Minnesota. But
I was like, seriously? But then once we got there, they were like, he doesn't belong here. We're going to give him 2 weeks. And then at that point, they were like, we're just going to let him go. He made friends with all his teachers. He made them friendship bracelets. They didn't want him to leave. He didn't want to leave because he liked it there. Because they worked with him one-on-one, helping him with all his schoolwork, playing with him on the playground, eating lunch with him. He became like best friends with his teacher and didn't want to leave.
I don't know many first graders that are given pepper spray. That's really young.
Well, we lived in an area that it was out in the country and there's stray dogs and different things, and never a million years that I think he would pull it out. But at the same time, that kid, I mean, he was violently threatening all the kids. It beat up a bunch of kids.
Right.
He got what he deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, karma. It could have been worse. My son could have beat.
He doesn't have to sit there and allow somebody to punch him and to hurt him.
So, yeah, he's 4 years older than him. And this kid was way bigger than him. You know, so I didn't really feel bad for the kid.
Right.
I bet he won't do it again. He never bothered my son again.
Good.
So they let him back on the bus, and everybody was like, we call him Young Shelby. Like, he's not most unviolent. He was just scared.
Yeah, I get it.
And
especially now that you said.
But what if that kid did beat the crap out of him? You know, and you see these kids now, like they're being seriously injured, sometimes killed from head injuries.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that's a reason to use your pepper spray. I don't think my son should have got in trouble at all.
It's hard for me to talk about it not having seen both sides, but from what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, they had all kinds of
From
footage.
what you're saying, there's video footage. He's 4 years older than your son. He's bigger than your son. Your son didn't
Months
resort
of
to
reporting.
violence. He used pepper spray. He used it correctly. It stopped the problem. But yeah.
Pepper spray doesn't hurt you permanently. No. It just burns at the time.
For about 40 minutes.
Yeah. I'm sure, but it got on the other kids on the bus too.
That's probably what the problem was.
And you're not supposed to have pepper spray if you're in school. You're not allowed to have any means of defense in school.
Yeah, well, you're also not supposed to bully people. You're not supposed to.
I know. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'd rather you get trouble for having pepper spray than something bad happen to you. What if there's a shooter? And we had a shooter like scare too at the time. And so I was like, I would rather my son get trouble for having pepper spray and stop a shooter or a dog that's about to ravage him than, I'll take my chances. So we don't talk about the incident in front of him though. He's like still like has trauma from it. If you even bring up the pepper spray incident, he's like, I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, so there's situations where I feel like it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. But like you were saying, you really need to make sure that you're not intentionally using your weapon under unnecessary means.
Right.
Is that right?
Right. Well, yeah. And we also have to think, we don't have to go straight to lethal, right? Do you have an opportunity to de-escalate? Do we have an opportunity that a non-lethal form of personal protection might be warranted?
Right.
Right. I think people also think here, and I won't get too much into the legalities of it, but because it's Texas and there's the Castle Doctrine, and, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Everybody thinks they're like cowboys around here.
Right. And,
Like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. And there's this scenario. I also am partnered with the USCCA, so I do a lot of training events with the USCCA. And one of the scenarios is, you're woken up, somebody's in your house, you don't know somebody's in your house, right? And you go down to look and you see somebody with your TV in your hand. What are you going to do? So
Call the police.
Right. But so many people that attend the classes think that because somebody is in your home, that automatically means you can go ahead and shoot them.
And you can't.
And you still have to
What
be
if
able
they
to prove that you were in fear of your life.
Right. They're holding a TV. They don't have anything in their mouth. What are they going to throw the TV at you?
But that's not how a lot of people think. So
how do you feel about like a pocket knife as a self-defense?
I think knives are just fine.
Okay.
But just know that
you can't stop a bullet.
Well, we wouldn't bring a knife to a gunfight. That's not what you're going to choose. But also just know when we're using like a knife, you have to be in close proximity to somebody. So somebody's already encroached in your danger zone, if you will, in that 10-foot.
How easy to stop somebody with a knife? How easy is it to stop somebody with a knife?
I wouldn't think that it would be easy, but
wouldn't it be more effective to pepper spray somebody than it would be to have a knife?
there are so many different scenarios we could come up with, but here's the deal. It's the totality of the circumstances. It's what happened before, what happened after, what did you detect? If you're more situationally aware and you can see that there's a potential threat, or you can see that something is starting to escalate, you can make more educated, effective decisions and hopefully avoid the confrontation. But if somebody is all of a sudden charging you with a knife, I'm not going to grab my pepper spray. A knife can kill me. If I'm armed, and again, totality of the circumstances, that would be a case that would warrant you to be able to use your firearm. Now, perhaps pulling the firearm out and giving a command is going to make them drop the knife and stop, but things happen very, very fast.
Right.
Especially when we take into consideration the 21-foot rule, like how quickly somebody can encroach your space, right? Like, so what the 21...
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay. So the 21-foot rule is like a danger zone, right? It kind of is like how quickly can you defend yourself in that situation? So if that wall behind you is 21 feet and from me, and I'm an average person, and it talks about the response time to effectively be able to protect yourself in a situation. So if you would charge at me with a knife, let's just say, because you brought that up, essentially...
I mean, that guy just stabbed that lady on the bus. There's another stabbing in a park.
Yeah.
I mean, they're stabbing women all over the United States right now.
Back to 21-foot rule. Essentially, what
these people are not aware of their surroundings. They've got AirPods in. They're on their phone. They're running with AirPods in. They are not situationally aware. Like, they are not aware at all.
Right.
And it makes them an easy target.
Right.
It'd be like putting earplugs in a deer when you're deer hunting.
So, okay, I want to back up because you asked about the 21-foot rule. So basically what that's saying is if you had a knife and that wall was 21 feet and you had an intent to harm me, you could reach me in approximately 1.3 seconds.
Fast.
So, but for the average person to process what's happening, be able to grab their pistol and actually get a shot off, it would be 1.5 seconds. So you'd
be too late.
You could be, but it's just to give you perspective on how quickly things can unfold and how short of a distance 21 feet actually is. Now, going back to you segueing into people getting, stabbed on the train, and that was awful. That was horrible. I want to be very sensitive on the way that I talk about this because and I don't want to actually refer to Irina specifically because that was just tragic. It was horrible and tragic. And I have a lot of feelings about what happened there. That was awful. But people don't know what they don't know. Right. And so, yes, people that have pay attention to their surroundings, maybe grew up with a military background, a law enforcement background, or heaven forbid have been victimized in some sense, they're going to be more aware because they've experienced a trauma or they've just been brought up with the education of what to look for. Other people may not have that common sense. So when I'm teaching my situational awareness classes, and I did not mean that to sound like I'm saying people don't have that common sense, but what I think is common sense might not be that to somebody else. So
I don't think it is common sense anymore. It was a long time ago when, people were, moving across the country and having to fight for their lives. But now we're just so kind of like comfortable in our bubble.
I think it's not even comfortable in the bubble. I think everybody's so distracted. There's so many distractions. There's phones, there's social media. Everybody's stopping to do a TikTok video. People aren't paying attention to what's actually happening around them. There's multitasking. There's working multiple jobs, picking the kids up. I mean, people are busy. A lot of single family households where, mom or dad are just trying to do everything and you just get distracted and you get complacent. So
yeah,
I can't tell you how many times every day I go for about a 4-mile walk and it's in a very wooded area. And I can't tell you how many times women will run by me and they'll have both of the earbuds in, right? Which we can talk about that. But the first thing anybody does when they feel uncomfortable or they don't want to interact is they divert their eyes away from you. That's showing vulnerability.
Right.
That's showing a potential weakness. That's showing intimidation. And that's what criminals are targeting. They want somebody that is not going to look them in the eyes and potentially be a problem back to them.
Yeah, so you should be more of like a deer in the headlights?
No, not necessarily. What I teach in my classes is I want everybody to just, don't ignore it. Like the example I give is HEB. I watch people all the time. And so you're at the grocery store, somebody comes in or somebody's near you and maybe they have no bad intentions, but just something about them, you don't want to interact with them, right?
Right.
Let's say they do have a bad intention because most crimes are crimes of opportunity, right? Not everything is premeditated. Well, the first thing people do, women are guilty of it more so than men, but the second they see somebody, they don't want to make that eye contact because that's uncomfortable. They don't want to have to feel like they have to engage or say hello or do a greeting, or they just creeped out, okay?
Yeah.
But the first thing we do is look on our phone, pretend that we're looking at a grocery list, or we turn and pretend we're scanning for something on the shelf. Worst thing you can do.
Right.
I want everybody to just kind
to see where they are and what they're doing.
You need to project confidence so that they don't select you. There is a thought process.
How do you project confidence? Like, explain that.
Yeah. So there's a thought process
that you're not confident.
Okay. There's a thought process that everybody goes through, and it's called the OODA loop. Okay. And it's observe, orient, decide, and act. You go through it subconsciously when you make decisions. Well, when criminals are doing it, they're observing to find out, is this the target? So the first thing we want to do is be able to lower our victim profile so that they decide not to choose us as the target. So then that in that observe stage of the thought process, they're like, not this one. And ways you can do that is by not avoiding eye contact, not appearing weak. Niceness can sometimes be taken for weakness because it's vulnerability. It's showing that you're maybe nervous, you're uncomfortable, right? Intimidated. So stand tall, roll the shoulders back, ground your feet into the ground so that when you're walking, you are walking with purpose, and make eye contact. That doesn't mean you stare them down. I mean, we're not trying to start anything. We're not staring them down. And quite honestly, I had a class last night, and there was some young ladies in there that were in their early 20s, and I was talking about this, and she's like,
see how your class
it was good. But I was asking about this, and she says she feels she's the one that turns her eyes away all the time. And she's like, I always do. I don't feel comfortable. And I said, well, why is that? And she explained why she felt that way. And I said, well, then I just want you to practice. Like, let's start baby steps. I said, she's afraid to hurt somebody's feelings. She's afraid to, and she's also intimidated. She just is, right? So I said, okay, so let's say you're walking down the aisle and someone's in your way and you have to move your cart over a little bit. You're going to look at them, right? And you're going to make some kind of a gesture because it's almost like saying, excuse me, without saying it. And she's like, well, yeah. I said, so do practicing like that. I just want you to take a cart up and down the aisles and have to look at people to move out of their way and get yourself comfortable with being able to just roll the shoulders back and look and then walk. Because we need to be the predators, not the prey. But that doesn't mean we have to look big and scary like we're going to attack, pounce on you. It just means we have to look like when somebody looks at us and has bad intentions, like, not today, Satan. I'm not the one to mess with, you know?
I have a friend, like, if men stare at her, she's really pretty. She'll be like, do I know you?
Yeah. So that will disorient. So I talk about that too. So if they're in the deciding portion of that thought process, or the orient part of that thought process, if they've already selected us, but now they're trying to assess the risks to figure out what they're going to do, right? And you actually present them with a question. Human nature, we think when somebody talks to us, first of all, we have to listen and we have to respond, right? So if you say, can I help you? It's going to catch them off guard. It's going to disorient them for a moment. That's the opportunity we want to use.
That might aggravate them.
Who cares?
Right.
But you just set a boundary. You just set a boundary that I see you first and foremost. I know you're there. Whatever you're doing is weird. You're not making me feel comfortable. And I'm strong enough to use my voice and say, can I help you? Or is there a problem?
Right.
But we don't stay there to have an argument with them, right? We disorient them so that we can remove ourselves from the situation and get to a safe place. And if necessary, get to a safe place and call for help.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or report them as being creepy in the store.
Right.
Yeah. I had a guy walk around the store following me one time. I went and found an associate and was like, hey, this person is following me around the store. And then they actually escorted him out of the store. And I come to find out he had been in the store several times following women.
Right.
And had I not been paying attention, and I don't know what ever happened. I didn't go back to that store for a long time because I was kind of scared. Yeah. You know, I would go out of my way to go to a different store.
Yeah.
I'm a big Walmart fan. I love Walmart. People are like, ugh. I know. People don't, but
all the crazies are. No,
they
sorry.
sell a lot of cotton and made in America.
Okay.
And I love cotton, and I love inexpensive cotton, and I love stuff made in America.
No shame.
Like
no
all their
judgment.
flags are made in America. Or like when you buy flags and stuff like that, a lot of stuff is made in America. And you go to other stores, and I can't find anything made in America. Now, Ace Hardware has a lot of stuff made in America too. I love Ace Hardware, and they have a boutique. So but anyway, sorry.
Aversion to Walmart is when I was still working in law enforcement. That place was always busy. There was always something going on. There was always, and so we almost had to have. We actually did. We had police that were working overtime that would have to put them. They'd have to stay at Walmart all day because there's constant car thefts inside, fights, drugs. I mean, it was just
about Walmarts in like bougie areas that are not busy.
I just
like clean ones, not the ghetto Walmart.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to offend anybody because I'm not trying to be mean about Walmart, but it's just not my first choice.
In certain areas, Walmart can be, I would not go into Walmart in certain areas, but then where I'm at, I'm in the Woodlands. There's no, I don't.
Don't say it. Don't even say it.
But I'm just saying, like, I feel like it's a totally different vibe than if I go to Walmart in Houston.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a totally different vibe just to drive on the roads in Houston compared to the Woodlands.
I just look at, all areas as equal opportunity. If somebody's got bad intentions,
everywhere
they can be anywhere.
Yeah,
so it's not. I know. So it's not city specific. Well, more so. There are higher populated areas, but they're everywhere.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
there's a lot more crime in certain areas for sure. That and I prefer to stay out of those areas.
Yeah.
So I'm a country girl.
Yeah.
I had a Walmart, and there's a Walmart in Spring Branch, Texas. It's out in the middle of nowhere. And it's a bunch of old people.
I've been to Spring Branch once. It's a bit of a drive from here, right?
Not Spring Branch, Houston, the neighborhood. Spring Branch, the city.
Oh.
So it's like 4 hours from here.
Have not been to that one.
Yeah, it's literally in the country, like in the woods.
And I can welcome some country time, some decompression.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like that Walmart, it was brand new.
I'm sure it's just fine.
There's no crime there. It's old people and country people. Now, as the city moves into it, because San Antonio is growing so fast, it's kind of like where we live now, right? It'd be like if you lived in Plantersville, it's growing, and eventually it gets taken over, and then you start having crime and all the things. But I feel like for the most part, a criminal isn't going to drive out to the country to commit a crime where a bunch of people have guns and they can't get away.
But see, now I'm going to take what you just said there.
Okay.
Crime of opportunity, right?
True.
So let's just say, and I'm just using Walmart.
But I feel like a lot of people have the same mentality that I have, and that's why I have you here to maybe correct those.
So I just forgot what you said, but you said something.
Just be in the country.
No, you said people aren't going to drive there. Okay, I'm not picking on Walmart here. This incident just happened to happen at a Walmart, right? But the guy who was at the Walmart not that long ago, I think it was within the last 2 months, and had a knife and just stabbed random people. He likely
was in Target in Austin.
I thought it was Walmart, but that's here nor there. The point being is he didn't drive there to do that, right? People just do weird shit.
Like he was like already there and just decided to stab people.
I don't know. I haven't interviewed him, but people
walked
don't
into
drive
Walmart and caught Walmart on fire. Did you see that? So a young girl walked into Walmart and went over there and lit all the fake plants on fire and walked out.
People are nuts. I'm like, people are crazy. Did you just hear about the beheading in Dallas?
No.
You didn't hear about that?
No.
The same day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
So much stuff happened that day. There was also a shooting at a school that day that isn't even making news.
Yeah.
Because it's all about Charlie Kirk. And I get it. Like, I love Charlie Kirk. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But that overshadowed, there was a lot of crazy stuff happened.
We are in a dangerous society, and I highly recommend not trying to come from a place of paranoia, but I highly recommend that people take the time to take a course, whether that's understanding situational awareness, whether that's understanding how to lower a victim profile, whether that's taking a basic firearm course from a reputable instructor. And if you're feeling comfortable with that, understanding what non-lethal means of protection there are out there.
Right. Let me stop you right there. Okay. You're saying if you're comfortable.
Right.
And I just want to tell the audience.
Yeah.
I took an LTC class years ago, and I had this old man that taught the class, and he was a nice man and he was knowledgeable, but it was a huge class. There was a lot of people, and I really didn't learn that much, and I felt like I didn't get a whole lot out of it. It was like, if you could make it onto the paper, you passed. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like that I was very comfortable because I had just started shooting a handgun. I've shot shotguns forever since I was a kid. I've shot deer, birds, all kinds of stuff, but handguns are completely different. Mm-hmm. It's like a totally different feel. I feel like I really should not have gotten a license.
Okay.
Then I hosted a class with you, and I was like,
sponsored the class. right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
sorry, sponsored. I felt like it was 9-day. Like you took the time. It's a small class, 5 people. You took the time. You explained it to everybody. I felt so comfortable. I was like, oh my God, I want to take this class. Like, I don't want to sponsor the class. I want to be in the class.
Yeah.
You're so thorough and you're so calm and you're so like not intimidating and sweet. And I don't feel like you're judging us or looking at us like we're idiots or talking to us like, because I kind of feel like, and I don't want this to become like a sexist thing, but women have a different demeanor when it comes to being a little more soft, I guess, when it comes to like talking to people, and maybe you're not as intimidating. I mean, some women can be pretty intimidating, but I just felt like the girls in the class, they love you, obviously, and you have a great reputation. Any person I've talked to about you, they're just like, I love it today, oh my God, I love Heather. And so people who maybe don't feel comfortable, I think they should still have a conversation with you. Or maybe
that's what I'm saying when I say go to a reputable person, because, and I'm not trying to like say, I mean, it is me, but I'm not trying to say I'm the only person, right? But I want to touch on it's not just because, and I know this isn't what you were saying, because I'm a woman. It's the why behind what I do.
Right.
And the why behind what I do.
Because you really care.
I do, but the reason I do care is because I had almost 20 years in law enforcement, and I worked sex crimes, homicide, and child pornography cases, okay? My victims...
And you're military too, right?
No military.
No military.
My victim pool was primarily women and children. So I've seen the worst of the worst of the worst. There's nothing that you can show me or describe to me that I haven't seen, because I worked for a very large city, and unfortunately, death was a regular occurrence, whether it was suicides, natural deaths, or homicides. But that being said, is when I retired, I came to Texas and I was trying to like find myself, rediscover my identity, because I'd done that all of my adult life.
Where were you at? You don't want to say?
I know. I don't, only because, just depending on where the topics go and stuff, I want to be respectful of my department. But it was it was the 3rd largest city in Minnesota. So people can figure that out.
That out really quick.
Yeah.
See that.
So anyways, great department. But my point being is I want to help women. So I don't want women.
But you don't just teach women.
I do teach men too. I teach men, yes. Yeah. And I welcome any man that wants to come to me. But primarily I focus on women, because I think there's this feeling that a lot of women don't feel like they can, or they don't think they have the skill set, or they don't have the confidence, or because it's brand new and they've never done it. And every single woman, you used the term badass earlier, every single woman has that inner badass. They just need somebody to help them find it. Yeah. And that's my job. And I don't do it in it's not a cocky badass, right? It's just a confident badass, right? So that, especially in the Woodlands, there are so many families where the husbands are traveling and the moms stay at home and they take care of the house and they take care of the kids.
And they run on trails in the woods.
They have these big, beautiful houses. Well, they might not know. There might be guns in the house. They don't know. What are they going to do if something happens and their husband's not home? Right. It's so empowering for these women when they come to my classes to actually be like, wow, like I can do this, right? And so that's why I purposely keep my classes small. I could fill a class with 20, 30 people. There's nothing wrong with that. I choose not to, because I already know how intimidating firearms are to a majority of women. Right. And I don't want it to be that way. I want them to feel like they have one-on-one, hands-on attention in that class.
I like that you were like walking up to each person, make sure their stance was correct. It's kind of like having a trainer. Like when you're at the gym and you go to a big class and then all these people end up injured, like in CrossFit, because they don't have somebody making sure that they're standing properly and have their core engaged and have their legs properly stanced and have their shoulders down and back and all these different things. And then they end up injured. It's the same thing. I feel like when you're shooting a gun, if your stance isn't correct and if your hands are incorrect and all these, not only can you injure yourself just practicing, but when you need to actually use it, you're not going to be able to hold it properly and aim properly, or you're going to be fumbling, or you're not going to be comfortable with it. You need to be practicing on a regular basis so that you're comfortable with your gun all the time. Yeah. And you can't just go out and do it. Like, we don't know how to use a gun. You have to have somebody teach you how to use a gun. It's just like driving. You can't just go out and drive a car and know how to drive a car.
Right. So when people ask like what my introduction, I call it introduction to firearms or introduction to handgun course, I literally start at the beginning, like, this is a pistol. These are the parts of a pistol. Now let's talk about what they do. Like, I break it down because I want my class to be different than other classes. I want to include as much as I possibly can so that they have a really good understanding. And then typically they come back to me and work one-on-one with me for typically 3, 4, 5 months. People work with me one-on-one on a weekly or bi-weekly basis because they just really want to feel
Be good.
comfortable.
I think it's really important. Really important, especially if you're going to own a firearm. You need to be comfortable with your firearm.
If you're not comfortable, you won't use it.
Well, that or you end up in an accident. Accidents happen. They accidentally shoot themselves, or I've seen that happen. Unfortunately, I know somebody that accidentally shot himself and shot his nose right off his face.
Well, the two main
Trying to like clean his gun while he was like in the car.
So the two main reasons for the accidental discharges are carelessness and ignorance. And there's a difference between the two, right? And
Or sometimes both, because you're ignorant, you're careless.
right. Well, yeah, but carelessness is typically when you have experience, right? You have some experience with it, but you're being negligent, you're being complacent. And a lot of firearms, when you clean them, so you take the magazine out, obviously, right? But if somebody's multitasking and they're not paying attention and they're not just treating every single gun as if it's loaded and verifying physically and visually that there is nothing in the chamber, right? Well, a lot of firearms, in order to break them down to clean them, you have to pull the trigger.
Right.
So they're pulling the trigger, but they're still around in the chamber
And they don't even know it.
because they're not paying attention. Yeah.
I think they just get comfortable.
I think there's many reasons. I think, multitasking, overconfident, complacent, or I'm hyper vigilant with handguns. I'm hyper vigilant every time that I'm constantly cycling that slide to make sure that there's nothing in there.
Yeah. I like that. And not pointing it at people even when it is empty.
I would be very disappointed if any of my students pointed a gun at somebody. Yeah, no, we don't point guns. In fact, I know people, and I think this is actually kind of amazing. I don't know how the Texans will feel about this, but they don't even, when it comes to like toy guns, Nerf guns and stuff in the home, we don't point them at each other.
No, I feel the same way.
Because if you're going to teach your children about gun safety, it should even start with the toy guns. We don't point guns at people.
Sorry, my child is blowing my phone.
That's all right. We don't make
It's
guns.
an emergency.
It's fun and games,
Can I just answer really fast? I'm sorry. It's so rude, but it's my kid. He's calling me over. Hey. We're back. Sorry, guys. I had a emergency call from my child. So back to what we were talking about. What were we saying about before we left the show? We were talking about like situational awareness.
I don't remember. I thought we finished up with, and I could be wrong, but just
that's a long
firearm course and why we keep it small and
why you
to
keep it
take the
small.
intimidation factor out of it.
Yeah, and why you what makes you different than everybody else? You really like to be hands-on in front of people.
Yeah.
Making sure that they know exactly what they're doing.
But I also have nearly 2 decades of law enforcement experience.
Right.
And then, continue on after that. I train in a real world perspective because I've seen what actually happens in real life when bad people reach good people. Most people never will have to experience that, and I'm happy for them, but they don't have to experience that. But mine's like reality, right? I know what can happen. So I want to teach my students that, both with firearm training, but even with situational awareness. I bring up cases. I don't obviously divulge names and stuff like that, but cases, because if I'm telling you this is what I'd like you to do, or this is what I'd like you to consider when you go for a walk, or this is what I'd like you to consider when you get that unexpected knock at your door. If I just tell you that, you're going to get bored with a 2-hour clinic with me just telling you all the things you should be doing, right?
Right.
But if I say, now let's hold on a second here, let me tell you about a case or 2 cases or 3 cases, you're not going to forget that, right? And then, I talk about a case where there happened to be cameras there, and it was almost like slow motion because that OODA loop I told you about, you could see the criminal going through all of those processes before he actually assaulted the victim. Yeah, and I segue that in with pre-assault cues and things to look for. So I talk about a lot. It's not do this, don't do that. I talk about the criminal psychology. I talk about what to look for, why criminals choose you, how we can disrupt their thought process. I talk about pre-assault cues and body mannerisms and behavior. So
what are some maybe a few things that you could look out for when you're out and about?
well,
Or how can we try just a few things maybe we can try to help protect ourselves, whether we're walking to our car from the store
okay.
or
Let's do
walking,
that one
running
first.
through a trail with our AirPods on.
Okay, let's do the store thing first. I want you, every time you get to a store in a parking lot, first and foremost, if you can, I want you to back in, okay? I also want you to take 10 seconds to scan the area. Don't just go through the motions, flip and do it. Scan the area. Take mental note of who, what is around you. Go into the store. Do not have your face down in your phone. Keep our heads up. I'm so tired of everybody.
My kids, I'm like, get off your phone. Not only that, but you're going to run into something or fall off of something or...
Right. And then when you leave the store, same thing. Pause for 5 to 10 seconds. Look around.
I always pull my keys out. As soon as I'm done checking out, because I put my wallet up, I pull my keys out. I have my pepper spray on my keys, but I've always been told to keep your key in your hand, which now most people have there's no key anymore.
Right.
Right. But what people don't know is there actually is a lot of them have a key that pops out.
Right.
And you can pop that key out. Also, you can keep your finger near the little alarm. So if they attack you at your car, you push that alarm, that's going to create awareness.
Right.
You know,
However, sometimes people are used to hearing car. Yes, you should know how to do that 100%.
I mean, it's better than nothing, right? Mejor que nada is what I say.
Yeah.
It's better than doing nothing. Maybe it will scare them away, if anything, right?
Yeah. I definitely want just eyes up, not eyes down. That's the biggest thing is eyes up, pay attention. And then when you get into your car, the first thing you do is lock your door.
And look in the back seat. No, don't they say always look in your back seat?
Well, yeah, when you're approaching your car, you can obviously scan on. When I walk to my car in a parking lot, I walk wide, so I'm on the opposite side walking down, and I pass up so I can look on my passenger side, and then I come back, and if you can peek into your car, get in. But the first thing I do, I don't care if I have bags strapped around my chest, if I have stuff everywhere, I get in, I lock the door, and then I sling the bags off and put them in the passenger seat or the back seat or wherever they're going. I don't stand between my door with my back to people, throwing stuff in the back of my truck or whatnot.
I am so guilty of doing that. I'm distracted with my kid. I have the cart full of stuff, and I'm just trying to get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, there's
like 115 degrees and I'm sweating.
Yep.
And I just want to get in my car and get out, get home. And so but I do try to like you said, scan.
Yeah.
And make sure I'm aware of my surroundings. I don't like to be out at the store at nighttime.
Right.
I don't like to drive at night, to be honest.
Right.
Because I'm old and I can't see.
It's hard to see. Yeah, I'm with you.
But, and then what if I'm like running down a trail and I have my AirPods in?
Well, first of all, I would suggest no AirPods, but if you are going to have an AirPod, have one, not two. Have the volume low. And if you're passing someone, make eye contact. Don't look away. Also, I don't like the idea of wearing a ponytail when you're out because if somebody decides to grab you, it's a perfect thing to grab onto. And where the head goes, the body goes. So if
somebody do like a braid?
Yeah, you could do it. Well, they can still grab a braid, wear a hat, a little bun on your head. We just don't want to give somebody a handle or something to grab.
I say that. I used to walk across the house and my granddad would pull my ponytail.
Right. But where somebody pulls your ponytail, where your head goes, your body goes.
That's
what you're going down.
Like,
and then you're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah. That's so true. That's what I'm saying. Like he thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Thanks, granddad.
Yeah. Nope.
That is a perfect handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just whip somebody around.
Right.
You can't get away.
You need to pay attention to what's happening.
Your hair is very stuck to your head. Your hair is very stuck to your head.
Oh, I thought you were like telling me my hair was.
I'm
like,
not,
what?
like, no.
No,
you look beautiful. No, it's not going to just come off. So once they get a hold of your hair,
Yeah. Yep. Where the head goes, the body goes. So, yep. Just little things to think about. There are obviously a lot more. I teach all that stuff in my situational awareness class, but those are some of the main ones. Don't have both your ears plugged. Do one, none if you can. Volume low, no ponytails, make eye contact.
Okay. So when you run, you don't wear your AirPods.
First of all, I'm not going to run unless there's a clown or a spider chasing me. So let's just get that clear. But when I'm walking, yes, no, I always hear what's going on. I'm very, very, and I don't go.
Why don't you like clowns?
They're creepy.
John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm not a clown fan.
I hate clowns.
I don't want somebody chasing me. But
I've really tried to overcome my fear of clowns. I even took my son to the circus, just made it worse because they were like,
I mean, I don't
clowns.
cry about clowns. I just like, they just creep me out.
They
I'm like,
try to walk up to me and I will punch them in the face. Like, go away. Like, no. Because at SeaWorld, they do this big thing for Halloween and they have like creepy clowns and they try to come up to you. And I'm just like, please, I'm telling you right now, I will not willingly punch you in the face.
yeah.
Because my reaction is going to be fight or flight.
Right.
Right. And it's sometimes kind of crowded and I don't like that. But I do love Halloween.
I do.
I tried to overcome my fear. So we all dressed up as scary clowns one year and tried to, go out and be scary and thinking I could be a clown.
Yeah.
Then I would overcome it. And I still hate clowns, like heights. Like I hate heights. And
Yeah.
I try
Fan of
to
heights.
overcome my height fear. And
Yeah.
I feel like it just makes it worse, to be honest.
I feel like we shouldn't share all of our fears. So if the bad guy does select us, they're not going to take us something.
They're going to
really high.
dress up as a clown and
dress up as a clown.
throw me off a mountain.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, no. So running, no, I'm not a runner. I'm being a little extra on that, but I absolutely can run. But I also
You look
don't.
like you're in really good shape. So I just assumed
Thank you.
that you're a runner.
I used to lift a lot. I'm getting back into it. If I'm being completely honest and vulnerable.
If I was a
business,
scary guy, I would not go after you.
that's
because
probably wise.
you look like you will whoop someone's ass. But,
Yeah.
like I would not.
Yeah, no, I'm
mess
not
with you.
afraid to defend myself. But I also very rarely, unless it's prohibited places, I'm always armed. I'm not going to be caught off guard. So I'm always armed. Yeah. So
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
because you're a badass.
I'm
Just
just.
gonna hang out with you. Then you'll
But when
protect
you
me.
work in law enforcement for as long as I do, and you see the evil that I like, it does something to you, right? If I'm being like truthful, it does something to
and
you.
you just never know
Mhm.
when and where.
Well, and when I'm going to have to protect somebody else from that evil. I mean, look what just happened,
I know.
on the train. I wish I was there.
I've been everywhere. Like
Yeah.
it's insane all the things that are happening
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
And I'm like, does it seem like it's a lot more because we have the internet?
The internet is, I'm sorry, and I'm probably going to lose some people here, but not the internet. Social media is evil. Like social media, if I did not have to be on it to promote my business, I would not.
Same.
I think it is diluting people's brains. It is overwhelming people's nervous systems. It is causing this emotional dysregulation in society that people do not know how to regulate anymore. And they're so easily offended. They're so easily angered. And when you
They're
cannot,
so used to like all this stuff that they're
when you can't logically process and think and regulate your emotions, you act out. And I just think that with everything that we're seeing and
you like
doom
you mean like
scroll,
with clowns.
yeah, yeah, but for real, like everything you're seeing with all the doom scrolling and all the different opinions and all the violence, like it is just getting programmed into our head. People shouldn't see that stuff.
No, and like everything that they showed with Charlie, like have some respect.
For his family, for everybody. But
And you're sending this out into the world where kids can see this. Everybody can see this. People don't need to see this. I wish there was some sort of
and let's talk about
laws that we
censorship.
can't post that.
Let's talk about censorship and how that is based on agenda.
We need
Right?
to have some censorship.
Well,
I'm sorry.
okay, so let me just throw this out there. I'm shadow banned all the time. I don't promote violence. I promote education. I'm not even doing a ton of shooting videos or anything like that on my social media
Explain
platforms.
to people what shadow ban means.
Shadow ban means that the algorithm has detected that you are in violation of some community guideline, and so you are not able to be located through like Explore, through hashtags, through account searches. So if you would try to search,
show up in people's news feed.
right. So if you were to try to find Hartman tactics and you would type it in, you'd likely have to type in my full handle in order for that to happen. So, okay, if you look at my page, there is nothing offensive. Everything is very much about empowering, confidence, education. Okay. But we can post some of these horrific videos we've just seen, and that's okay.
Right.
You can have
And it's the first thing in everybody's feed.
right, but the censorship is just based on agenda. It is not. It's there's no reason, and I'm not trying to bring it about me, but there's no reason
Just like want to ban guns even more.
because they're showing what they want to show. But like with me, there's nothing that I have said that promotes violence at all. I do not promote violence. I promote awareness. I promote training. I promote being proactive about your safety because you are your own first responder, period. Right. But
For me, it's like, I don't care. Like, I'm not afraid of death. I feel like I would rather die than kill somebody else. at the same time, like when it comes to my kids or any kids or other people, like I would want to defend them.
Right. And you should be able to, but you have to train to do that.
I don't want my kids ended up in human trafficking because they, take me down and steal my kids, because that happens.
Yeah, human trafficking is a whole another topic.
My friend was like the head of the human trafficking department for San Antonio for Bexar County.
Mm-hmm.
And his son was in Boy Scouts with my son. And I heard a lot of stories I probably should not have heard. Yep. That made me very paranoid. But I got involved with the human trafficking, volunteering and awareness and parents and getting the knowledge out. And I have definitely probably made my kids paranoid. Again, my kids are probably more situationally aware than other kids. Like my kids get on to other kids. But at the same time, they're still kids. And they still get into that walking with their phone or, they get relaxed. They get comfortable. We're in the woodlands. There's no crime here. I'm like, there's crime everywhere. And then my son, my middle child's son got followed home by some weird guy that's been arrested like 20 times.
Yeah.
He was aware of his surroundings, called for help, and the police came out and took the guy, and the guy was trying to get him to go to the elementary school to dig up a basketball that he buried, apparently.
Yeah, there is a lot of crime in the woodlands. There's stuff every single day happening, and if you don't think there's people watching your teens, watching you at the mall, then you're...
Oh, the mall, not the Woodlands Mall. My friend's daughter was there. She's like 18. She was at Forever 21 like on Monday at 11 a.m. shopping. And this guy pulled a knife on her and tried to drag her out of the store in front of everybody. And nobody did anything. She was lucky to even get away.
When did this happen?
It's probably 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. I was like, I have not seen it.
And the guy, again, had been arrested like 6 or 7 times for the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And they just let him keep getting back out. It's like all these people that are immigrants that have murdered and don't even get me started.
I know. I can't have this conversation right now because
But this is why we need you to teach us awareness, situational awareness, and how to handle a gun or be aware of what's going on. I love that you even just offer like the classes, like the self-defense class and the situational awareness and the safety classes and all the things, especially for the realtors. Yeah, but a lot of people don't want to carry it.
I love my realtor courses. I think it is so beneficial to get out to the realtors, and
especially
because they are going into empty houses with strangers on a regular basis. But
they're targeted, and they're mostly women now. The real estate world is dominated by women, and they are in houses by themselves all the time.
Right.
Yep. They are easily found because they're everywhere. They're posting their stuff all over the place trying to get business.
Yeah, this is why I created that course specifically for realtors, because through my law enforcement experience and going to the sex crime conferences annually and hearing the case studies about what's happened to specific realtors, and they need it. It's an area that isn't covered very well. So, and September is Realtor Safety Month, so I have been lucky to be busy teaching realtors how to be safe and what to look for.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We had like 50 people. That was standing.
Amazing. That was such a great turnout. And that's when that was the Keller Williams office. Yeah, that was amazing. So, and the best way for people don't know that I'm there, right? Because of the shadow banning and stuff. So I really rely on word of mouth. I rely, share my videos, word of mouth.
Well, I shared it and it got no views.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Well, because I get thousands of views on my videos.
Oh.
I shared yours, done.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, that didn't help me then, did it?
Now, the video I took of you that I took, that one got a lot of views. But when I shared yours and I shared your class, nothing.
That's so weird.
Even like my stories, I put it in my stories, nothing.
Yeah.
My stories, I usually have tons of likes and loves and
see, that's what's so frustrating is I'm offering something that is really beneficial. And
I guess when I did that, I moved it because I hadn't had a story that day, just happened to not have it, so I put yours on my story so it'd be like front page. Mm-hmm. It moved my story down the line instead of being like the first one that people see.
Interesting. I don't know. I'll never be able to even pretend that I understand the algorithm and the ins and outs on why
you're seeing that they're blocking.
Yeah. They do. They shadow ban my stuff.
Do it.
Well, no. So shadow ban shouldn't affect if somebody shares it. So that's really helpful for me when people share. But it affects my content on my page so that they can't find it. But
They
if people,
blocked your event like completely.
yeah, that's ridiculous.
That video you had last night.
Yeah.
Nothing.
See,
I got nothing on my story, nothing on my share, nothing.
Yeah, that's frustrating because I'm out there trying to educate people. And I want to say regarding my my situational awareness class, first of all, I keep my prices really reasonable. It's a 2-hour course, and yes, I need to I need to pay my bills, right? But I'm not exploiting anybody. These prices, I have been told that they are way too low, and that's okay for me. But teens are free. Your kids are free. So if you have one parent that purchases, your seat to come, your kids are free. I think that's huge.
I do too.
Yeah. So yesterday, I think I had 6 late teens, early 20s that were there. And so that was totally fine with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not IDing, like if you're over 18, you're now an adult, you have to pay. That's not it. If they're your kids and they're living in your home and you want to come, yeah, I send them. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I have 5. Can I bring all of them?
If they're age appropriate to where they're not going to be like traumatized or be scared after hearing what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Ours are all teenagers.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. I don't have small children
Yeah.
anymore.
well, we have to educate our youth. They're the ones that are targeted quite often and the ones that are the most distracted. So yeah, absolutely.
And I think too, like boys, these teenage boys, they're just so oblivious. They think that they have all this testosterone suddenly, and they think they're kind of Billy.
That's a whole different conversation. I used to go to the schools and speak, and I would talk about internet safety, when you're posting things to think about.
Most human trafficked are boys, teenage boys.
I haven't looked at the statistics lately, but I don't know that that would surprise me if they were the highest. I'd have to actually look at some facts on that.
14 to 17 is what I read.
Yeah, but
Now, whether that's true or not.
right, yeah, I'd have to fact check. Yeah, no. Regardless, people need to know what to look for and how to protect themselves and keep their heads up. Pay attention.
What about, so there's a lot of organizations around the Montgomery County area that helps like girls and women who've been human trafficked or been victimized, and they're living in these facilities that have been funded by local organizations and companies. Do you ever offer to like go out there and talk to them or do anything?
I haven't been out soliciting for business. I'm just accepting when people call me. So if they were interested, then I would really, highly encourage them to call me and see if we can work something out.
I think that would be really helpful.
Absolutely.
Because you have an inside view of what they've been through.
Right.
So it's a little bit different than if you...
But it also gives them another perspective of police officers, right? Because unfortunately, girls that were human trafficked or there's not a lot of trust, and that's for police, and I understand why. But it also helps not to generalize, right? To see that there are people that we see you, we hear you.
I didn't trust police for a long time. I didn't trust police.
And I understand, but being that this is what my purpose is, this is what I'm doing now. So like I'm different, right? I love police. I'm a pro police. Obviously, I did it for as long as I did, and I'm blessed to have been able to have that experience. It's what gave me the experiences, the tools, unfortunately the stuff that I'll never forget. But all of that helps me create curriculum to help others stay safe. So I'm happy about that. I just think that because I have that background, been there, done that, and now I'm leaning on the other end to try to prevent trauma. So to be more proactive versus reactive, it would be really beneficial to speak with some of these communities and these outreach groups.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then there was one other thing I was going to ask you. I don't remember what it was now. Well,
it's okay.
I have fleeting thoughts.
Yeah.
That's why I interrupt sometimes, because if I don't, I'll forget.
Yeah.
The squirrels, they're all turning so fast.
Yeah.
I want to know so many things. And yeah, I really just appreciate you coming on today. Yeah. Again, your class that we did was amazing. I've heard just nothing but great things about you.
Good.
The women in this community just love you. And I think they really admire you.
Yeah.
Kind of look up to you. You are definitely a great role model for our young girls.
That's nice to hear. Thank you.
I wish you would have been around for me a long time ago. I would have loved to had somebody like you to help me.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's truly, I believe it is what I'm supposed to be doing. So if anybody is looking to connect with me or to learn more about me, then I would suggest checking out my website at hartmantactics.com.
And all of her information is posted in the description.
Yeah.
She's on Facebook. You're on Facebook, Instagram.
Those are the two profiles, or the two platforms that
LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn, but I need to be better at updating LinkedIn. So I'm pretty much primarily an Instagram girl, but I do share some of that same content onto Facebook. My website has a lot of really, really, really good information. And of course, my contact information if somebody has questions.
And she has this really cool fanny pack. That's what
Yes.
I'm talking about. She has a fanny pack. It looks like a Lululemon bag, and it holds your gun.
Yeah.
And you can,
Yep.
I mean, that's what I want.
Yeah, that's my favorite. It's a marsupial gear concealed carry bag with the
I love
Eclipse.
it's called marsupial.
Yep, with the Eclipse Molly Bee holster. So you can find that on eclipseholsters.com. And you can actually design your holsters. You can choose your patterns. You can choose your hardware. You can choose the colors. But those two, you can buy it together. If you do purchase a holster or anything on Eclipse, you can use my code, which is HT20. I'm pretty sure it's HT20. I'm trying to keep my code straight. It won't roll over for the bag because the bag itself, it won't, but it will definitely provide you that discount on the holsters themselves.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that thing. When you pulled that out, I was like, oh.
I love it. It's
I
my
needed
favorite.
that when I was a realtor.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to do that. I'm just glad I'm always around a lot of people
Right.
that love me. So I feel a little
More safe.
feel much safer.
Good.
I'm not paranoid. I used to be out in the country showing homes, doing landscape jobs with a bunch of men. And sometimes I'd have to hire people from like Home Depot, which I'm sure is,
Right.
the greatest thing. And that's why I carried a gun. Whether I was super comfortable with it, I was shooting more then than I do now. But I stopped doing it. And now I pick up a gun. It's like, it's not like riding a bike.
No.
It's like, I have
That's a
to
train.
kind of start over again. Not completely, obviously.
Right. But you have to train.
I'm more comfortable than I was when I first started.
Right.
But again, I'm like, oh, wait, how do I hold this thing? How do I place my hands? Keep your trigger finger straight.
Yep.
You have this, I think, is an automatic, like, you want to put your finger in there. It's just an automatic thing. It's like when we run around, we're cowboys and Indians, we're just
Nope. Keep your fingers straight.
pop guns. Remember the smell of the little pop guns?
Yep.
It's like, so my kids have them, and I'm like,
That's funny.
I don't know what is in there, but if anybody wants to get a hold of her, Heather Hartman Tactics, please call her. We went out and bought a gun the other day for my husband, and he had to have a metal Beretta 9mm, but it's so heavy, but he likes the weight because he says it kicks less. I guess you have better aim.
The aim wouldn't matter. He's probably referring to the level of recoil, but
Yes. Okay. So he just feels more comfortable. He's a lot stronger than me. So for carrying a heavy gun around like that for him, and he's just going to keep it in his truck because he drives into Jersey Village every day, and he's worried more about the driving part. Once he gets to work, he's like, I'm good. I don't need to take it in with me. But the people are crazy on the road.
Yeah.
And you just never know.
right.
But anyway, we went to buy this gun, and we're at the counter at Academy, and these people are trying to buy a gun. They've never shot a gun before. And the guy was a retired sheriff from LA and was like, I'm not selling you a gun. I'm sorry, but maybe one of these other people here will sell you, but I am not selling you a gun. Like, you need to go down the street to Spring
Gun and ammo and try them out.
and try them out.
I love that he said that.
Yes.
Most people wouldn't do that, and you need to try them. You can't just buy one.
You need to go into Academy and give them your flyers so they can refer
Ooh.
people to you.
That's a great idea.
I ended up, while I heard him talking to them, I said, hey, I'm sorry. I just overheard your conversation. I'm not trying to get in your business, but my friend Heather, and that's when I gave them your information. I don't know if they called you.
Right. I didn't get a call, but
Maybe they will.
yeah.
Anyway, I gave them your information and was like, hey, and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm like, you really should get some training before you buy it.
Right.
Like, that's really dangerous. Again, what's crazy is that you can just go buy a gun without any training.
Right.
And people will sell them to you.
Right.
Which is nuts to me. That's a problem. That's like giving somebody a car before they have a license and just letting them drive it out on the road.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts?
Yes. I have my opinions on
The
that.
rules.
Right.
Now, when you buy a car, they have to have a copy of your driver's license.
Right.
Why do we not have to have some kind of training before we buy a gun?
I think that's a whole other conversation.
I'm not anti-gun.
I'm not either.
I'm pro-gun because you can't take the guns away from the criminals.
Right.
That's why I'm pro-gun. If I could get rid of all the guns in the world and make them poof go away, I would totally do that. But we can't go back in time, unfortunately, and uninvent the gun. So we have to be able to defend ourselves.
Right.
And that would be really unfair if you took all the guns, because we need to be able to defend yourself. So that's why I'm pro-gun. Plus, I like to hunt. I like to be able to kill my own food and eat wild game and birds and all the things. Now, that's a totally different thing. You know, it's on a handgun.
Right.
You shoot somebody with a 12 gauge or 20 gauge, the damage is, you might stop them, but you're less likely to kill them, right? Yeah?
If you shoot you're saying if you shoot somebody with a 12 gauge, you don't think they're going to die?
Maybe.
They're going to die.
You think so? Because isn't it like spray?
Well, and okay, I'm trying to think.
They're like
nice
little babies.
No, but then you've got slugs.
True.
You can definitely you will.
Yeah.
Yes, any gun you're gonna.
So I feel like
you're
if
gonna kill
somebody broke into my house, I would definitely grab my 20 gauge before I grab my handgun because I know that I can shoot well with my 20 gauge.
Right.
And it has a spray pattern, so I feel like I'm more likely to hit them than if I try to shoot them with one little bullet and a gun that I barely use.
You have to practice in general. You have to practice and know that you're accurate. And
Yeah, my 20 gauge.
you have to think about what's stopping your bullet. You got to know your target and beyond and everything around because you're responsible for every single thing that bullet hits.
Yeah. No, we shoot animals all the time. Yeah. We're just not shooting
Good.
guns. We just don't shoot handguns very often.
Right.
We need to do that. We need to get into the range. We need to get more familiar, more comfortable. Even my husband, he's really good, but
Yeah.
not as good as much as you practice.
Right.
I guess.
Right.
He's kind of good at everything.
You need to practice.
You
need to train.
He's good. He does this, he's good. He does that, he's good. I'm like, I'm not that hand-eye coordinated. I don't have that.
Yeah.
This guy,
Practice makes part of it.
he also is a bowler. He just won a bunch of championships.
I can't bowl. I need bumpers.
Bumpers. I'm not that bad. I'm not good, but I'm not that bad. Yeah.
I don't like to lose.
We should go visit him on Tuesday and go bowling. He's at the bowling alley every Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. All right. We got to get off the show. Dick's kicking me off.
Okay.
I've had my time limit.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for coming on today. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
It's going to be amazing.
Okay.
Can help a lot of people.
Help some.
Yeah.